We already saw him.
Oh, you already saw him. Look how cute this thing is. Golly, what a start to training camp. Look at this guy. This is Wyatt. Obviously, y'all saw him. Excited to have a little pet adoption day tomorrow. Hopefully people come out and get to look at cute guys like this. Please don't send this to my wife because she'll probably want him to come home with us.
He looks more comfortable with you, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a natural, huh? I hold my babies and kids too much, so I'm a little more natural with it. All right. What's up, guys? Good. Feeling good.
Are you expecting a more intense, physically demanding, competitive training camp? Or are they all kind of the same? Whether it's Bill, whether it's Mayo, whether it's whoever you had out in San Diego, Anthony Wynn, maybe?
I think they're all similar in a way. I mean, I think you got to attack it that way. That's how I try to attack it with my mindset, and I think majority of the guys will. I mean, you have to be ready to come every single day, no matter what training camp you're in, and so you try to, prove it every single year that you still got it, that you still are trying to improve, trying to get better, find things you can improve on. So, yeah, man, that's the beauty of training camp is coming in and trying to get better.
Have you learned anything about getting ready for camp to help you over the years, or is it still?
It's hard to simulate everything, obviously. It's hard to simulate, putting pads on, obviously, and going against another person. You can't really simulate that unless you come in and actually work on it and practice against your guys. So, but you try to get in as great a shape as you can, as strong as you can, so you can withstand that physicality throughout, the practices, throughout training camp, but also, the longevity of the season.
It looked like in the 5 weeks that the quarterbacks and the receivers were able to get together. Kind of who set that up and how important is that leading into camp?
Yeah, Drake hit the guys up after minicamp, and we just kind of talked about trying to, get guys together. Obviously, it was a good couple of days of working. We need as many reps as we can. We steal as many reps as we can to just get timing, get a feel for each other more and more. But also, it was good to just be able to hang out because that bond can go a long way. No matter, good times, bad times, that bond will continue. And so, it was good to connect with the guys for sure for a few days.
Stephon Diggs was out there with you guys during that time. Were you shocked just to see how quickly he recovered and how good he looked while he was out there?
Yeah, he's doing great, man. Obviously a guy that adds a lot of value here and a guy that's done a ton in this league. Everybody has a lot of respect for, and I got a lot of respect for the work he's put in. Obviously, I've been through an ACL myself, and man, it's a tough injury, and he's done a tremendous job of just staying focused, staying locked in, and he looks really good. So excited to go out there and compete with him, and kind of get a feel for each other on the field too. And I know he brings a lot of energy, and excited to be out there with him.
Where were you guys located when you worked out? It looked like somewhere warm.
We were in Charlotte. Yeah.
Looks like Jaheim Bell was down there as well. What are you starting to see from him in his second season?
Yeah, Jaheim, it was good to have him down there. I feel like all he did last year was continue to improve and growth in a lot of areas. So had a good spring, and he brings a lot of energy to the room, and a guy that obviously has a lot of speed, a very, very talented receiver. And so I'm excited to kind of see his growth throughout camp and continue on what he did last year. He did a great job of just improvement throughout the year, working his way through a whole year, and then now he gets to build upon that this year.
It's been 7 months now with Mike Vrabel. How much of a better feel do you feel like you have for what he's about, and how do you think that what he's about will help you guys this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's been great, man. And I think everybody can see that too. I've loved being around him, just as a person, first and foremost. I mean, he's been awesome building that relationship, but also just as a coach, it's been a lot of fun just being in the meeting room with him. He's done it at a high level as a coach, but he's also done it at a high level at the same as us as players. And so to kind of have both those things for us to be able to lean on is huge. And so I'm excited to dive into training camp with him, and then get ready for this season.
You're not scared of him, but he's not messing around. Is that good for this team? Where this team is at right now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all need accountability, and I think he brings that every single day. Yeah, I think he's the same guy every day so far that I've seen, and I think he'll continue to be that. And that's all you can ask for from your head coach. He's very consistent, and that's definitely what we need.
under new offense again this year? Like, do you feel like the guys know it pretty cold now entering training camp? Where are you guys with learning the offense?
Say that one more time.
Now that you're entering training camp, do you
Yeah.
feel like you know the new offense pretty cold at this point, or like where are you in learning it? I guess.
I think we. I mean, everybody's at different points with it. Personally, I'm pretty. I mean, it's kind of like riding a bike because I was luckily in this offense. So there's. You're not in it for a while, but once you hear the terminology, once you hear things, you're able to kind of pick things back up, kind of retrain the mind of everything. And there's a few guys that were in it for sure before, so I think that helps some of those younger guys to ask, bounce questions off of us. But Josh has done a great job. I think everybody feels in a good spot. Obviously, we're going to dive pretty heavy and deep into it, right away. I think everybody will be ready to go.
What's it been like to watch Drake grow?
Grow?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been great, man. Obviously, he's a talented player, but I think just him growing in his leadership and just off the field stuff, and obviously just as a player, I've seen a lot of growth in him, and just confidence. So that's only going to continue to go as we more practices we stack, the more reps we take, that confidence will grow.
Whether it's physically or maybe in their approach, who's a teammate that, whether you saw him today or at the end of spring, seems markedly different from when you saw him at the end of last season?
Approach?
Yeah, it could be physically, just a guy who showed up a little bit of a different player this year.
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like, we did some good stuff in the off season, but I think you'll be able to see that once practices really start in training camp. You practice in the off season, and that stuff's to like bring. We're putting stuff in, we're installing, but like training camp's really where we form the team, and so you're really able to see where guys are at because obviously we're out there more, we're competing a little bit more. It's a little bit more intense. To be honest with you, I don't know if there's a guy I can like really pinpoint right now, but like maybe in 3 weeks we can circle back on that question and see that. So that's what training camp's about. It's about the growth. It's about like forming the team, putting the blueprint together for this team, and so I'm excited for that.
As Josh comes back, he worked for 1 year. It was a fairly successful year. Now that he comes back, is there anything about him that you're remembering, saying, "Oh yeah, he's really good at doing this," or "This will help us because of something like that"?
Yeah, I feel like he's a really, really good teacher. Obviously he's been this is his system he's been in for a long, long time, and he is a master of his system. And I think it's really cool to learn from him because he's a really, really good teacher and able to relate to a lot of different guys. So that's one thing that I respect a lot about him, and I did, right away my first year. But like getting back into it, he's a really, really good teacher, and so it's a lot of fun to learn from him. Hi guys.
How's it going? This is Wyatt. Little Wyatt, he's pretty sleepy right now. I guess he was over there in the back hanging out. I said, please don't pee on me. And they're like, oh, don't worry, he peed on the floor already, so I don't have to worry about that right now. Yeah, this is I guess Robert and Dana Kraft are spearheading this pet adoption giveaway, so you too could walk away with a puppy.
What about you?
My dog is currently down in Texas right now. Oh yeah, you want to say something? He's down in Texas with my mom and dad, so hopefully he can come up here soon enough. Now that I got a house up here with a big enough yard for him, so yeah, he's a big boy. He's about 130-pound dog, so yeah, he needs quite a bit of room.
I was reading up on this, what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're gonna be walking out with the dogs. I believe after practice, before practice. I think he wants to go down. Before practice, a handful of us will be walking out with some dogs and doing a giveaway to some families. And I think it's animals are special. I think there's all they do is know how to love, especially when they're young. So to go into a family that needs something that's like a sticky glue in the family that can bring somebody together. I think that's an awesome thing that we can do as an organization. We have a great leader in Mr. Kraft and his wife Dana to help families in need who could use something like that, who could bring joy into their lives. So when they asked me to kind of be a part of this, I said absolutely, I'd love that.
Brenden, how happy are you to be here, and kind of what's the feeling amongst you guys as you get ready for day one of practice tomorrow?
Yeah, we always look to come back around this time of the year, because this is actually real football and things kind of start to ramp up, and you look forward to preseason, coming out here with the guys, getting after it during camp, and it's those dog days that you have to go through to earn the right to go onto the field on Sundays and Mondays and even Thursday evening. So it's always something that we look forward to, and people ask me, do you get nervous to come up there? And I don't think it's nervousness anymore. I think it's more you're anxious to come up here, and you've worked all off season to get to this point, to go out in the football field and kind of prove that you belong here and to showcase your abilities as well.
What's changed for you during this training?
I think more of a leadership role. I know kind of talked about that last year as well, but Joe Cardona was still here, and he was that seasoned vet in the special teams room. So to kind of be thrusted into that role, I'm very excited about that, and to hopefully get to wear a C on my chest, be elected by these guys on the team. So kind of taking us definitely a bigger step in that direction when it comes to special teams wise, and then also kind of wanting to contribute more on defense as well. I know kind of midway through last season, I was able to step into a small role, so it's going to be I'm going to try to expand that role as well on defense this year.
Does the new defensive staff discuss that with you?
A little bit during before OTAs, there was small conversations, but I think more it was getting to know the playbook inside and out, and not only make the team as a guy who's going to contribute on special teams in 4 phases, but to contribute on defense as well. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure there'll be conversations coming up the pipe, but not too many as of recent.
Do you see yourself in any of these young special teamers, or is there anybody that you particularly kind of put into your wing?
I think everybody in that room, especially the guys who are going to be on the perimeter, on punt and punt return, and I think when it comes to kickoff and kickoff return too, there's still there's so much things that are evolving in that realm as well. I think it's going to look a whole lot different than it did last year league wide, just based off like how teams attacked certain formations, how they're kicking the ball, where they're going to put the ball. Is it going to be on the ground? Is it going to be in the air? Is it going to be in the corner? So I think that in that realm, it'll be a little bit different. But when it comes to punt return on the perimeter, just, anybody who has any questions, like I want to be that guy. And I had great mentors like in Cody Davis, Matthew Slater, Justin Bethel, even Joe Cardona when it comes to even rushes on punt. Just taking those guys under my wing and showing them all the ways that I learned, and those guys can kind of pour into them because those older guys poured into me, and I knew how much that meant to me. So any way I could be, a role model of those guys and be, a teacher, and like I'm still trying to be a student of the game. So if I learn something new, I want to teach them something new too. So just trying to be that guy in the room now that's, kind of that quote unquote old head now. And I've seen a lot of ball out there, and it's crazy. I'm only going into year 4, but these guys look at me like an old guy. So it's just try to just pour into them as much as, other guys poured into me as well.
You mentioned him a couple of times, but what kind of impact did Joe have?
I think Joe just taught me how to be, a true pro, and how like hard this game can really be. And, the difficulties that he faced as a long snapper when it came to rushes. And even if it's just him and I and, a couple other guys that are working on a rush that week that we're trying to, pick on a snapper, he's like, hey, for me, this is really hard. I got to pick my head up and I see guys crossing my face and guys flying around. And so to have a seasoned vet like him, I think he's going into year 11 this year. And he's seen a lot of football and, been to the Super Bowl and was around a lot better players than I've been around recently in these past 4 seasons. So he was just a great soundboard to bounce ideas off of and talk about rushes and, other ways to, get to the punter and ultimately change the momentum of a game if you can get a blocked punt.
Brenden, I know there are a ton of new players, coaches, like newness is all around you, but if you had to capture what's different about the start of this training camp from your past years, what would you say?
Are you talking like for me personally?
Just the whole building.
The building. I think Coach Vrabel brings, a different vibe, and I can only speak for the years I've been here. He brings a different vibe from the years previous, where it's not you're not scared, but like he's not messing around. Like if you're not on your P's and Q's and you're not doing exactly what you're asked to do, how you're supposed to do it, then I don't think guys are going to be sticking around long. But and that's not to to scare anybody or to be rude. I think it's just the nature of the business, and he's not messing around. So I think there's that aspect of it, but there's also the excitement that he brings and the energy that he brings because being a former player, he knows the difficulties that we have to go through, and so to have him at the helm, I think it's it's going to be beneficial for us, and we're gonna see what happens and see where the chips fall.
Because you said you want to wear the C on your chest this year, and that standard that the coaches are setting, how much do you feel like it is being communicated to leaders to hold the other players on their team accountable, especially when you have rookies coming in who may be taking on big roles right away?
I think it falls back to that old, saying, players play and coaches coach. Like we're going to be on the field and we're going to be the ones that are going to have to make checks and we're going to be the ones that are going to have to bring guys together when, because not everything's going to be perfect and, things are going to be hard during the game and, the coaches can only do so much. But as long as the leaders who are supposed to be leaders on the team are your best players on the field, then those guys are going to raise the standard and raise the bar. And, if you're not meeting that standard and you're not rising to the occasion, then I think we're going to have a hard time. And so to be that guy and to hold that standard, that's something that I take very personal. And I want to be that guy, and I want to be part of something great that we're going to build here. So it's about the guys on the team who are going to hold the standard, and those need to be your best players who are going to be on the field day in and day out. So to wear that C on my chest, it's a huge deal, especially being at this level. Coming in as a guy who was undrafted to hopefully get to wear a C on my chest, like that would be a huge honor. And I wouldn't want to let anybody down who got to wear that before me, who's going to wear that after me. So it's about holding that standard and keeping that tradition alive here of, dominant football.
Brenden, you've worked with a different kicker every year, and you don't get in the season. Mm-hmm. You've had the consistency of Joe and the long staff in the role. With the two rookie specialists in particular, what are the key pieces of advice you give Joe and Andy regarding the ups and downs and inconsistencies that both of them present?
Yeah, I think don't ride the roller coaster. I mean, you guys are going to have good days. You guys are going to have bad days. There's going to be the ebbs and flows of practice. There's going to be the ebbs and flows of games. Just try to stay as consistent as you can and, learn from the older guys who have been around and, listen to your coaches, trust your coaches. It's like drinking through a fire hose when you're a rookie and, you have the pressure of not only performing from, other people, but I think there's also a certain amount of pressure you put on yourself to perform because I don't think anybody who's here wants to do poorly. So it's like, don't worry about the ups and downs. As long as you stay consistent and show up a day in and day out, then you're going to be just fine. Like you guys are talented enough. We brought you guys in for a reason. Just trust yourself.
Brenden, you mentioned that there were going to be some changes this season regarding special teams. What are some of the bigger trends that you are expecting to see this year?
I think the biggest changes are definitely going to be on kickoff and kickoff return. We'll see what happens because I think every special teams coordinator kind of has their way of attacking it this year, and whether, like I said, that's putting the ball on the ground, whether that's hanging the ball up in the air, whether that's different twist games that you can do on kickoff and kickoff return. I know that was kind of a big trend that we saw league-wide last year, so I mean it wasn't like a big secret or anything. So I think it's just going to be one of those things where that phase of the game is going to be evolving because we're only going into year 2 of it, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens.
Thanks, Brenden.
Appreciate you guys.
What's going on? Good, how are you? It was good. I had fun. Got to spend time with the family, friends, enjoy time off, away from ball, work out, but it was needed, but I'm excited to be back.
As you transition back to training camp here, what are you thinking personally in terms of what you would like to achieve in terms of taking your game?
Just getting better every day, just focusing on the one day at a time in training camp. All you can do is come in and fix the mistakes you made the day before because there's always going to be mistakes. But yeah, just focusing on getting 1% better each day and have a good camp and lead into season.
Christian, you've had the new head coach like every year since leaving Colorado. How have you what have you learned from that to help you move forward and adjust?
Yeah, I mean, each coach is different. They're all different, but I mean, at the same time, you're just playing football. Getting in and learning the new faces and, how one coach coaches versus another coach. I mean, it's like I said, it's just football. So just coming in and being the best version of myself and doing what I can do for the team.
A couple of the young players have talked about welcoming these expectations. Year 2, year 3, year 4, how do you deal with it coming off year to year?
I mean, I would say just being who I am, just playing. Kind of going back to that question earlier, just being 1% better every day. Not focused on making no goals on anything. Just trying to better myself each day, and now lead into a good season.
One of the things that Drake said was that he welcomed increased expectations. Where do you stand on something like that? Do you welcome that kind of thing?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, I feel like pressure is a privilege. If you have that pressure on you, it's a good thing. So I enjoy it. Kind of have to enjoy it playing corner because it's always going to be up on the DBs. So I enjoy it.
Do you like dogs?
I like dogs. I do like dogs. I have a dog. He's much bigger than this dog, though. I have a Dior, a Cane Corso. He's like 135 pounds, so yeah, it's huge. But
So he would eat that.
nah, he'd probably run around with him, and Dior would get tired out after 5 minutes. But
How physically different is your body now than when you came into the league? Stronger? Are you faster? Are you more flexible? How have you changed?
I don't know. I mean, I've always been fast, always been pretty strong. I mean, I kind of hit on a little bit. I've been starting doing a little Pilates during off seasons. That kind of can help with my flexibility. It's very hard for nobody that's done it. It looks easy, but it's probably one of the hardest things I've done. So it's fun, but that's something I challenge myself with during off season.
What was it like seeing your name on the top 100 list last week?
It's cool. It's cool.
How much would you like to grow as a leader as well now that you've been here kind of established? Do you feel like you have that in you as far as taking that next step?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can improve in that. And I mean, everybody leads in a different way. I mean, I'm can't sit up here and say I'm gonna get up in front of the team and give a team speech. It's just not who I am. But I can lead and by example and in other ways. I love when people can come up and ask questions about anything, not even just football, off the field stuff. I enjoy it. So being able to take that step is something I look forward to.
You had a pretty nonchalant reaction to the top 100. Like, do you pay attention to those lists? Do you take your ranking personally? Like, do you care where you're?
I mean, I see it. I got to get into it too much.
What you learned from Carlton Davis, how you describe the position?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome to. It was fun to be in here with him during OTAs. Pick his brain a little bit. It's he's won the Super Bowl. He's done it at the highest level. He's done it for a long time. He's made a lot of plays. So, it's always great to have that vet in the room because you can lean on him, ask him questions, how he sees certain things, and just it's fun being on the field with him and all the DBs. So I'm excited for it.
Christian, you mentioned being the best version of yourself. What does that look like on the field?
Making plays, doing what I do.
Chris, as a corner, and especially a man-cover corner, how would you prepare and put yourself in position to force turnovers?
I mean, it's you want to force turnovers, of course, but you can't go into the game just thinking force and turnover. You got to lock in on your man and your job with the defense. So it's kind of just when the ball in the air and you're in good position, you kind of flip back to receiver mode and you just go get the ball. So yeah.
Christian, how much can you learn and or grow going up against a receiver like Steph Davis?
Oh yes, I'm excited for that. It'll be fun. He's also done it for a long time at a very high level. Kind of picked his brain a little bit during the spring already. So excited for those competitions and even just what he brings to that room and the team. He brings a veteran role, a veteran leadership role. He's just going to crank up the competition, and it'll be a lot of fun out there.
There's a lot of optimism.
Last year when he was here
Did I?
Go head to head with Steph.
Yeah.
What was that experience?
It was good. He's a good route runner, great route runner, very smart. Just talking to him, like actually getting to talk to him, he understands football very well, space, defenses. So it's fun to pick his brain and see how he looks at it as going against a corner as how far as I look at it.
He had a couple of catches against you in that game, if I remember right. What did he do and how he attacked you? How might that help you move forward?
Yeah, just being able to see it on film and actually ask him about it now. Like, you can get beat from a receiver, and you don't always get the luxury to be able to for him to be on your team and actually sit down and break down that film. So I was able to ask him questions about certain things, certain reps he won, and he was able to give me some answers. So that was cool.
What was the most helpful thing each year?
Just be in people's face. Just be who I am. He told me that, so that was something nice.
Christian, there's a lot of optimism around here because Mike Vrabel's here as the coach. The fans know him; he's a familiar face. But how much is it on you guys as players to get this thing turned around after 2, 4, and 13 seasons?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it always comes down to us. We're the ones out there playing. We're the ones out there having to, win and make plays. So it all comes down to us. They can coach us. They can teach us all the techniques, all the tools, all the coverages, but we got to go out there and execute. So we got to be better at that.
Just go back to the conversation with Steph. Did you actually sit down and watch the film last year, or did you guys somehow off record watch it?
No, just off record. We didn't get to sit down. We'll probably do it sometime. I mean, we're gonna be here all day, 24/7 now. So we got time to do it now.
Going back to your comment. Going back to your comment when you mentioned you got to kind of flip to receiver mode. I feel like we all know somebody who screams at the TV, like, why didn't he turn around? Why didn't he pick it off? So for you, at what point are you just trying to play the hands? And at what point are you saying, I'm in a good enough position to turn around and try to attack the ball?
Yeah, so, I mean, being a DB, there's kind of two different phases. In phase where you're pretty much, it's kind of hard. There's in phase, like you're right hip to hip. You can look up and find the ball. And if he's, a couple steps ahead of you, a step ahead of you, and if you look up, the ball will go right over your head because, the quarterback not throwing to us, he's throwing to the receiver. So if you're in his hip pocket where you can turn and look, you can. If you got a couple steps on you, you got to play straight through the hands.
That was a great explanation.
Appreciate it.
I've been hearing that for years. I've never heard that. So if you're out of phase, just go to the hands. That's why guys don't turn around.
Yeah, that's right. Appreciate y'all.